Life constantly tests our patience, with sudden pain, loss, and moments of weakness. But how can we, as individuals, face life's challenges without losing our balance, strength, or inner peace? Here, wisdom enters as a pivotal element. The wisdom we speak of is not merely theoretical knowledge found in books, it is the deep ability to understand oneself and the world around us in a way that allows us to reconcile with reality, no matter how harsh it may be. Epictetus, the Roman philosopher, is a symbol of wisdom, despite a dark and humble beginning. He was born a slave in conditions of poverty and marginalization at a time when slavery meant the complete loss of an individual, access, rights, and dignity. Yet Epictetus did not allow those circumstances to condemn him to the bottom of life. With rare determination and profound vision, he transformed his apparent weakness into a source of strength and his external chains into an unbounded inner freedom. Epictetus. Life proves the power of the human mind and spirit to rise above all odds. Even chains couldn't but bind his wisdom. He understood early on that there are things in life that one cannot change, such as the place of birth or the circumstances one faces. However, he believed that there is always something one can change: our way of thinking, our perspective on things, and how we respond to them. Here lies the essence of his philosophy, distinguishing between what we can control and what we cannot. This seemingly simple idea became a fundamental pillar of Epictetus's life, teachings, and enduring philosophy. This seemingly simple idea became a fundamental pillar of his life and philosophy. Epictetus did not merely write about philosophy. He lived it, breathed it, and embodied it as an example for others. He taught his students that life is not a series of events that control us, but rather a series of choices we are free to make. He believed that inner peace does not come from controlling the external world, but from mastering the inner world, a mastery that begins with a deep understanding of oneself, why we feel what we feel, and how we act based on that. Epictetus' philosophy wasn't blind optimism. It was a practical guide for facing life as challenges. Epictetus believed true peace comes from wisdom, even in the hardest times, when the world feels loud and broken. He described this inner peace not as a fleeting emotional state, but as a lasting condition of acceptance and satisfaction. The challenges Epictetus faced in his life served as a living test for his philosophy, a daily trial of mind over misery. When he was a slave, he did not have control over his body's freedom, but he discovered he could possess freedom of mind and spirit. When he suffered permanent injury to his leg due to mistreatment, he did not let the pain break him. Instead, he delved deeper into understanding the true meaning of freedom, freedom that no external circumstance could take away. Epictetus's philosophy offers us a powerful tool to face the complexities of modern life, in an era overwhelmed by pressure and anxiety. Ideas like distinguishing between what we can and cannot control and practicing control over our thoughts and emotions become more important than ever. Through this philosophy, we discover that true strength is not in having absolute control over everything, but in accepting reality as it is while striving to change it when possible. Epictetus was born in 55 AD in what is today southwestern Turkey, in an environment that offered him very few options. From the moment of his birth, he was a slave, a status that at that time determined a person's entire fate. Slavery was more than a social condition, it was a total judgment, where body, soul, and dignity were ruled by the master. For most slaves, this meant a life of humiliation. But Epictetus was different. From childhood, he had a unique perspective. As if he understood that true strength comes not from controlling others, but from mastering oneself. Epictetus was sold to Epaphroditus, a powerful man in Nero's court, known more for cruelty than kindness. His cruelty was evident when he caused a tragic incident by breaking Epictetus's leg during torture. It is said that Epictetus faced this immense physical pain with calm acceptance, even reportedly saying to his master while being tortured, "You are going to break my leg." And when it broke, he simply said, "Didn't I tell you?" This moment was more than just an accident. It symbolized the philosophy that would later define Epictetus's life. The physical pain was unbearable, but he realized there was something untouchable his mind. This marked the beginning of his deep awareness that true control comes from within our thoughts, choices, and responses, not from the external world. Amidst this pain and psychological suffering, something unexpected happened. Despite being a slave, Epictetus had the opportunity to attend the lessons of the Roman philosopher Musonius Rufus, one of the greatest teachers of that time. This encounter profoundly impacted his life. Imagine a slave sitting among free men, listening to lessons about virtue, wisdom, and the meaning of true goodness. Epictetus was not a mere passive listener. His mind thirsted for these ideas, seeing in philosophy a glimmer of hope, a light penetrating his dark reality. These moments planted the first seeds of his personal philosophy, built on the principle that there are things under our control and things outside of it, and that we must focus on the former and disregard the latter. After Nero's death, Epictetus gained freedom, but his mind had been free long before. Freed at last, Epictetus chose not wealth or power, but a life of wisdom and teaching. Epictetus wasn't an ordinary teacher. He taught through pain, truth, and real life. His philosophy was based on self-honesty, facing fears, and coming to terms with the things we cannot change. Despite his growing influence in Rome, new challenges arose. In 89 AD, Emperor Domitian issued an edict expelling all philosophers from Rome. For many, this decree could have meant the end of a career, but Epictetus saw it as an opportunity. He moved to Nicopolis in northwestern Greece, where he established his own school of philosophy. This school was unlike any other. It was not just a place for lectures, but a true environment for changing minds and freeing souls. Students from distant places came to sit at the feet of this philosopher who lived his teachings, not just spoke of them. Epictetus taught that true happiness comes from inner peace, not wealth or comfort. One of his most famous students was Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who was deeply influenced by Epictetus's teachings. Epictetus wrote nothing, but his student Arrian preserved his teachings, later inspiring Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, who recorded his master's lessons in what became the Discourses and the Enchiridion, the handbook of Epictetus. Thanks to Arrian, the world has been able to hear the voice of this philosopher echoing through the centuries. Epictetus's ideas were simple on the surface, profound at their core. We cannot control everything, only our reactions. Pain is a part of life, but suffering is a choice. Your physical freedom can be taken away, but your mental freedom cannot. In his school, the teacher was a mirror, challenging students to think deeply and face themselves. To him, that was true philosophy. The aim of philosophy, he believed, was not to acquire more information, but to learn how to live better, with more peace and more courage. Fear, anger, anxiety, and sadness are merely our reactions to external events. If we can master these reactions, we truly become masters of ourselves. He famously said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of things." Looking into Epictetus's philosophy, we find it is not merely lessons in patience or self-control. It is a complete system for life. Today, we face challenges different from those he faced, but pain, loss, and anxiety are constants in human life. Through Epictetus' philosophy, we learn that inner peace is not a gift given from outside, but a skill acquired through practice. When we stop trying to control what we cannot and start focusing on ourselves, we begin to see the world differently. Pain becomes learning. Loss becomes a chance for growth. Anxiety becomes a call to reflect on what truly deserves our concern. What Epictetus did was not just teach an ancient philosophy. He offered a practical guide for how to confront life. A philosophy that teaches us how to stay strong even through the toughest moments. True freedom is not granted, it is earned, and that our greatest challenge is not the external world, but rather ourselves. Imagine standing in the heart of a storm, winds howling around you, rain pouring down, everything seeming out of your control. In that moment, you might feel powerless, as if the whole world has turned against you. But what if someone told you that there is always one thing you can control, no matter how fierce the storm? That is the essence of Epictetus's philosophy, the distinction between what you can change and what you cannot. Epictetus reminds us, life is full of things beyond our control, like the weather, like fate, like others' actions. But there are things fully within our control: our thoughts, beliefs, emotional responses, and choices. This simple distinction between what we can and cannot change is the key to true freedom. In our daily lives, ignoring this principle often leads us to frustration and suffering. Whether it's losing a job, being mistreated by others, or even something as small as rain ruining our plans, reminds us how little we truly control.